In this short tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to calculate the average for your plane. So let's look at round number 1 here, and please remember, if you haven't already done this where it says plane with blank design, that you write in the design that you tested in round number 1. So let's say, for example, mine was the glider number 2 design. Okay, and then I would have already put in my measurements. I'm just going to put in some kind of random numbers here to give me some numbers to work with. So what you have to do to calculate the average is you're going to have to add together the 120 plus 80 and then divide that by 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that here as a math problem, right, in parentheses, because that's the step we're going to do first, and then we'll be dividing it by 2. And this is where I can pop over to a calculator, whether it's a real life calculator or a computer one, right? So here's my calculator. So I'm going to do 120 plus 80 equals 200 divided by 2 is 100. So that gives me an average of 100 centimeters. Okay, so after I calculate that, I will obviously answer these two questions here. My hypothesis was proved or disproved, right? So this is where I'm going to look at what I said and see, did this plane fly as well as I expected, right? If it flew very good, you're going to say proved. If your plane didn't go very far, like it went less than, I would say, 20 or 30 centimeters, you would select disproved and then talk about anything that went wrong. In your next one, on page number 2, just like I did before, this is round 2. I'm going to write the name of the plane that I used in round number 2. So let's say it was the simple paper airplane. Okay, so that's the design I used in that round. And again, I'm going to put in my measurements here. Let's say maybe this one didn't go as far. Let's do 47 centimeters. Okay, so I put in my two distances. And then to find my average, I'm going to take 56 plus 47, and then I will be dividing that by 2. 56 plus 47 is equal to 103, and divided by 2, that's going to be 51.5 centimeters. Notice I am not rounding, right? Math is about being precise, and it's 51 and a half a centimeter is a thing. So please do not round. I saw some of you doing that with the stand on one leg experiment. Do not round. Write down the exact mathematical division problem. And again here, I'm going to compare this to round 1. So for me, with my fake data, I'm definitely going to say my hypothesis was disproved because the measurements for this plane, the average I calculated, is definitely less than in round 1. And then again, I'll say to make my plane fly further next time what I would do. This is then where round 3 has a decision that has to be made, right? So looking at my data, I definitely do not want to use simple paper airplane because it's clear that that one did not do as well. So I'm either going to reuse and make glider number 2 again. Maybe I'll make glider number 2 with a different type of paper, or I'm going to select a totally different plane, right? So I will fill in the design I'm going to use, and I'm either going to fill this in with just notebook paper because that's what I'm going to continue to use, or if I have some other type of paper at home, I might fill that in here. And again, you'll identify your variables, right? I'll give you a hint. What's changing in this round is the same as what changed in the last round, and it might also be the paper. If you're changing the paper, then the paper will also become an independent variable. All right, so again, here I'm going to write what I'm testing. So let's say that I decided to do a totally different plane design for round 3, high glider. And then I went outside and I flew my plane. And here are my different measurements. But here, right, this is what might happen to some of you where one throw is really good, but the other one is not so great. So to calculate my average, I take 48 plus 130, and then I'm going to divide that total by 2. So going over to my calculator again, 48 plus 130 equals 178 divided by 2 is equal to 89 centimeters. So this also shows you why we average, because on average my plane did not do as well as the 130. Maybe the 130 was just a random chance, a random fluke. So again here, my hypothesis for round 3 this time, we're going to say it's disproved because this number is definitely smaller than the average that I got of 100 centimeters on round 1. And then I'm going to, again, think about, there I am, think about did anything go wrong with my test flight. And on this page, this is where I'm going to go look at my numbers. So if I recall, my best average was 100 centimeters, which occurred in round 1 and was made of notebook paper with a, I believe this was the glider number 2 design. And again, if I'm not sure, I'm just going to go back up to round number 1. Glider number 2, yep, and it was 100 centimeters. So that's how you're going to fill in this part here, is look at your best average. And then here, like we've done before, you can try to follow the directions to insert a graph, or I've given you a handy shortcut this time around. So if you click on this shortcut here, this can help you create a bar graph very simple. So you'll say the title graph would be the average distance of planes flown. The x-axis is going to be plane, design, or round. Title of your y-axis is going to be your distance. Bar 1, glider number 2, and that was 100 centimeters. Our other one was simple paper airplane. Our other one then was high glider. And I'll go back here a moment so I can get my numbers, 89 and 51 and a half. So let's see, 51 and a half and 89. And then if you do this, all you need to do, let me set some minimum value. Always set a minimum value of 0. Let's set the maximum value of 150. And then if I hit down here where it says create printable graph, oh my gosh, it gives me a graph now. That's a little bit easier. And then to get this back into my Google form, I can go to a screenshot here, which on my computer is Shift Command 4. And I can copy that. And then I can come back over here to my paper airplane challenge. Go here, insert an image, go upload from my computer. On my computer, it always puts screenshots on the desktop, so I can load it here. So that is a simple way that you can add a graph to this if you can't get the embedded graph to work within Google Forms. So that's a way to do it there. Okay, so again, that's how to calculate your average and how to make a graph of your airplane results. Please don't forget to answer the last 3 questions here that are your overall conclusion questions. All right?